Hello and Merry Christmas week. Happy holidays. Today I thought it would be fun to look at some of the different holiday characters from around the world. There are so many aside from just Santa Claus. Today we're going to talk about Krampus, Belschnickel, Frau Perchta, Grilla, Trapp, Ded Moroz, and Olentezro. Let's start with perhaps the scariest of them all, Krampus. Krampus is a holiday character that originated in Austrian or German folklore. His name is derived from the German word Krampen, meaning claw. He's half goat, half demon, and all scary. He was originally thought to have been part of the pagan rituals of the Norse winter solstice. According to Norse legend, Krampus is the son of Hel, ruler of the underworld. Think of him as the counterpart to St. Nicholas. St. Nick and Krampus travel around on December 5th, aka Krampus night, and do their work. Where good old St. Nick comes around to reward the good boys and girls, Krampus comes to deal with the naughty ones. He's said to beat those who are naughty with branches and sticks, eat them, or even drag them away to hell. During the late 20th century, an activity called Krampus runs became increasingly popular in Austria and Germany. People dressed up as Krampus and ran through the streets scaring onlookers. As the commercialization of Christmas continued, the popularity of Krampus internationally grew. There was even a film made in 2015 entitled Krampus that grossed almost $43 million in the US alone. I personally haven't seen it because I am certainly not a scary movie fan, but it got a 6.2 on IMDb and a 66% on Rotten Tomatoes if you want to check it out. Let's move on to the next character that you may be familiar with if you've seen The Office. In one of the Christmas episodes, Dwight dresses up as Belschnickel. The legend of Belschnickel, like Krampus, also has its roots in German folklore and became popular with the Pennsylvania Dutch as well. Dwight actually did a pretty good job of matching what the legend describes. He is a fur-clad, ragged-looking man who carries a switch with which to lash the naughty children, but also carries candies and treats to reward the good. Belschnickel is said to go around on December 6th, and he will provide the good children with treats or candies, while the bad children get a lashing. On to the next. Another that hails from Austrian and German folklore is Frau Perchta, aka the belly slitter. She's often depicted as an old hag with ragged clothes and a beaked nose of iron, hobbling around on a cane. She is said to travel around during the 12 days before Christmas, accompanied by a group of ghosts, ghouls, and sometimes demons. Much like Belschnickel, she rewards the good and punishes the bad. She'd reward good children with a small silver coin. Those who are lazy, greedy, or liars, on the other hand, are all potential victims. In addition, those who work on her feast day, Epiphany, which is January 6th, are especially at risk for her wrath. She is known as the belly slitter because it is said that she would open up the bellies of those who are undeserving, pull out all of their intestines, and then fill them up with garbage, rocks, and or straw. A lovely little witch. Moving on to the next, we come to Grilla. Written tales of Grilla go back as far as the 13th century in sagas and poems throughout the Icelandic region, such as the Prose Edda, which we are so very familiar with on this channel. These accounts describe her as a repulsive-looking giantess with 15 tails. Some descriptions even include her having 300 heads, with 3 eyes on each of these 300 heads. During Christmas, or Yule, she is said to come down from the mountains and kidnap naughty children. It's even said that she would enjoy them in the occasional stew. Another interesting part of her is that with one of her husbands, she had the Yule Lads. These are a group of 13 mischievous men who steal from and harass the locals. During the 13 days leading up to Christmas, they venture out and they either leave gifts or potatoes in shoes that children leave out, depending on if they've been naughty or nice throughout the year. Let's continue now with a French legend, Hans Trapp. This guy, much like Krampus, is said to accompany Santa Claus on his travels. While Santa is rewarding the good, Hans Trapp is punishing the bad. His legend seems to have originated from a real person who lived in the 15th century. The man in life was cruel and heartless while being known for worshiping Satan and dabbling in the occult. After being excommunicated by the Catholic Church for these things, he was shunned by the community. This led him to make his way to live in the forest in exile. This isolation is said to have led him to madness. One day, he finally tipped right over the edge. He is said to have started roaming the countryside dressed as a scarecrow in search of victims. So began the legend that each Christmas he goes around with Saint Nick, the Christmas scarecrow, ready to beat or eat the naughty little children. The last two on the list more closely resemble Santa Claus and are not known for eating or beating children. At least not anymore. First, we have Ded Moroz. His name means Grandfather Frost. This is basically the Russian version of Santa Claus. Interestingly though, his origins can be traced back to Slavic mythology, predating Christianity. He was originally a harsher figure who was into kidnapping naughty children, and he then morphed into the kinder icon we know today. He typically wears a long coat lined with fur that is red, blue, silver, or gold. He also has a Russian cap that is also lined with fur. He wears traditional Russian boots, and he carries a staff. Like Santa, he also has a long white beard. Unlike Santa, he is typically trim and elegant versus being tubby and jovial. Instead of 8 reindeer, he has 3 horses. Instead of Christmas Eve, Ded Moroz delivers his presents on New Year's Eve. It's also often said that he's accompanied by Snegorochka, aka the Snow Maiden, aka his granddaughter, to assist in giving out gifts. Grandfather Frost is said to reside more locally than the North Pole and can receive letters containing Christmas lists from hopeful children. Finally, we have Olentezro. Olentezro is a Basque tradition, and today he is seen much like Santa Claus is. He carves little wooden toys and dolls and comes down to the villages with them in his sack, and he hands them out to the children on Christmas Eve. This seems to be another case of pagan traditions being Christianized as time went on. Originally, starting back in the 16th century, he was actually a foul-smelling, haggard-looking giant. Traditionally, every Christmas Eve he would come down to the villages and behead bad children with his sickle, versus giving them presents every Christmas. One of the traditions for Basques is where youths go from house to house throughout the village, dancing, singing, and collecting money in preparation for a special meal. My biggest takeaway from learning about the different traditions around the world is that time and time again, pagan traditions seem to be Christianized, and these often terrifying characters are cast in a completely different light, like with Ded Moroz and Olentezro. That, or the pagan figures are an accompaniment to Saint Nick and are the ones that are doling out the punishments or kidnapping kids. Either way, it was really interesting to learn of the different traditions, how they've changed along the way, and how a lot of them seem to tie in together. Hopefully this was interesting to you as well. We have one more video coming up this week, also about the traditions of Christmas and its true origins. So I hope to see you then. Thanks for watching.